Hi. Good evening, everybody. I am Ramanan, Mission Director of Atal Innovation Mission. First of all, I'd like to thank every one of you who has joined this Facebook Live session today. This is a very special session for all of you who are attending this call. It is something that is very important for Atal Innovation Mission, and we have two outstanding people, two outstanding mentors who are gracing the occasion today. We have Ms. Pratibha Kohli here. She is the principal of Maharaja Agrasen School, and this was one of the first of the 257 schools that we selected for an Atal Tinkering Lab. But more importantly, not only is she the principal of the school, but she volunteered to be a mentor of change. And that is a fantastic thing. When the principal of a school volunteers to become a mentor of change, not only is she setting an example for a lot of other people to follow, but she is contributing through her experience and expertise of running an ATL in her own school, the benefit of that knowledge and experience to others. And then we also have Ms. Archana Kakkar. Ms. Archana Kakkar has been also greatly associated with the Mentor of Change movement. She is the Mentor of Change for Ryan International in Greater Noida, but she is also a consultant at CPAM, and she's an IT specialist. She has an IT specialization background, and so we have two wonderful people here who have contributed immensely to the Atal Innovation Mission mentoring movement. Now let me take a little time and explain about the Atal Innovation Mission activities and how mentors fit in. We are focused on promoting and creating an ecosystem of innovation and entrepreneurship across the length and breadth of the country, as all of you know. And towards this end, we have launched many initiatives. One of the initiatives, which is a very important initiative, is the launching of Atal Tinkering Labs. We have launched thousands of Atal Tinkering Labs in schools, which are dedicated innovation workspaces, where the latest of technologies like 3D printers, robotics, IoT devices, miniaturized electronics, augmented virtual reality, do-it-yourself kits are implemented in these schools. And in each of these schools, the children from grade 6 to grade 12 get an opportunity to tinker with these technologies, play with them, create solutions to problems they see in and around the community that they live in. And the children are trained, and the school management actively participates in order to make these children understand how do you go about solving a problem, how do you go about spotting a problem, and how do you go about designing a solution for the problem, and how do you leverage emerging technologies like the ones I mentioned in order to solve the problem. So this is a very exciting movement that is happening across schools all over the country. More than 8,878 schools have been selected for Atal Tinkering Labs to date, and 3,020 of them are operational. But all of this will not succeed if we don't have mentors who are going to help in addition to the ATL in charges in schools or the school management. We need mentors who bring special knowledge, expertise on a variety of aspects which go into problem solving. You need technology knowledge, you need business acumen, you need how to be able to work in teams, you need soft skills training for all these children who are innovating. And you also need sometimes to induct them into concepts of business to see the robustness of their innovation and the scale and spread of their innovation which they are doing. So from this point of view, we are very, very strongly focused on building a mentoring network. And I'm very happy that the Atal Innovation Mission has attracted some of the finest mentors from across the country, from the private sector, from schools, from engineering colleges, from research institutions, from the small industry, from the community, and also from alumni who have graduated from schools. And this is what is giving strength to the movement and making this movement so very successful. And we have 3,500 mentors already allocated to over 3,000 labs. And over the next several months, we have actually launched a new application for Mentors of Change. And I do expect that every one of you who is already not a mentor and who has logged on to this call will register yourself to be a mentor of change in the Atal Innovation Mission. Now with that, many of the mentors have really dedicated. These mentors are all voluntary mentors. They spend their own time, effort in being able to mentor young students. So I start off with Ms. Pratibha Kohli. Ms. Pratibha Kohli, it's fantastic that you are both the principal of a school which has an Atal Tinkering Lab, and you are also a mentor. Tell me, as a principal, what would you have expected out of a mentor? And as a mentor, are you delivering according to what you would have expected out of any other mentor?
Yeah. Actually, the Atal Innovation Mission and the Atal Tinkering Laboratories, these are out-of-the-box opportunities for students. What I saw in my school was that my students got an experience which they had not had earlier. Earlier, students were only reading textbooks. They were never going outside the books. They were never moving out of the box. So this gave students opportunities to think beyond the curriculum. As a principal, I had to really motivate my students and my teachers to adopt this. And the moment children realize that it's okay to tinker, it is okay to experiment, it is okay to fail, it is okay to try again, they were very excited about it. As a mentor, I always wanted to give back to the country. Whatever I had learned, almost about 28 years of teaching experience I have now. And when I got to know about this Mentor of Change scheme from the ATL, I thought this is the best opportunity for me to be a part of New India and to share with my students, because education is all about sharing your concepts. I want to be a part of India that brings out neoteric innovators. And I would really always be towards tinkering, and I would love to give my voluntary experience for this.
Excellent, excellent. Two things stand out from what you're saying. First is allowing children a platform to experiment, to learn, to fail, and to relearn, and to come up with a solution. And doing it in an atmosphere where you're not pressurized that I have to get some marks and I have to pass an exam. It is nothing like that. It is just getting into the love of tinkering with technology, looking at solutions, thinking of solutions to problems, and giving them an opportunity to fail and learn. And I think and so a mentor is very important in this context, because he allows the child or allows the student to fail and to learn from that experience, and then guide the student along. And then the second point that you mentioned, which is very creditable. I know being a principal, I know the type of responsibilities that you have in running a school, and it's a huge responsibility. But at the same time, this act of wanting to give back to society, this is what motivates many of the mentors. And I'm sure those of you who are on this call would realize that this is the real thing that wants you to become a mentor. So Ms. Kakkar, what is your view? I mean, first of all, what does mentoring mean to you? And secondly, you also specialize you come from CPAM, which is the Center of Intellectual Property, and so on. So how is that relevant to whatever you're doing in your mentoring activities?
So I feel that mentoring is something where we develop a relationship with a student or anybody who is coming in touch with us in building their experiences from our own experiences. We share our knowledge with them. What is the use of having knowledge if we're not sharing with the people around us? Right. So, and it feels good to give back, especially in a school environment where the enthusiasm of the children, it really rubs on to you. It reflects back on you. So every time when I go to the school, I come back more refreshed. I come back more updated because the current generation is very comfortable with technology, and I think we are learning a lot from them. So building a relationship with them where we are not having any kind of, we are not forcing anything onto them to get any kind of marks or any becoming excellent in anything. We're just expecting them to tinker and think creatively and think out of the box and bring even the maddest ideas to the table. I tell them that you are free to do whatever, learn to ask questions, incorporate hows and whys in your vocabulary more, because Indian education system, we do not promote that.
Correct.
So, and then I tell them that I'm your friend and I'm also learning with you, so I give them the power that yes, I'm also learning at the same pace as you are. So that gives them the power, and they start considering me as a friend, and they share their ideas with me. And when I started my sessions with them, I was when I went to the Atal Tinkering Lab, I realized that lots of the things were more focused on electronics and other stuff, sensors, and I'm from a non-technical background. So, but after discussing things with the people here, I came to understand that I can use my own skills, and I started my sessions on intellectual property with the students.
Okay.
I realized that this Atal Tinkering Lab is more focused on bringing out the products and innovations into the market. And so the students should first know that they have to protect their ideas also. It is very important.
Right.
Sharing the knowledge is good, but you need to first understand that it is your own intellectual property.
Right.
And it can turn out to be a big thing later on, maybe. So, and you can have a monetary gain also through that. So it was very exciting for the students to understand that they can file for copyrights, they can file for patents, and I was there to help them in any way.
Right.
So the best part was the students were very excited to know that they can write an essay, and they can immediately file for a copyright. Even if they don't file, they still have a copyright over their creation.
Right.
So a few of the students, they came to me, they started talking to me about they wanted to do something on creative writing. So how can they file for the copyrights? How can they file for the patents? So it was a good information for them. And we also talked about these piracy and infringements and everything. So it was good for the students to understand that these things actually can have a big impact, because somebody might be doing some kind of illegal activity through the websites from which they might be downloading some content.
Correct.
So they should be avoiding that.
Excellent.
So all those things I was bringing to the table, and it was really good interacting.
That's wonderful. So, from what you shared, and so with so much passion and excitement, I would add, two things at least stood out to me. Number one, the thing of sharing, the joy of sharing, and the energy it gives you in being able to share what you know, and being able to make a child understand something which they have not understood before, but the knowledge of which you have, and therefore and in that act of sharing there is tremendous joy and tremendous energy. Right?
Yes.
The second thing that you said is even the maddest of ideas are welcome.
Yes.
And this is the spirit of an Atal Tinkering Lab. An Atal Tinkering Lab is ask the question why, and no question is a bad question.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And don't challenge the status quo. Why is something like this? Why can't it be something different? This is the question that we urge. Whereas normally in a classroom, you are told not to ask any question beyond the topic which is under consideration or the subject under consideration and so on. But there is no taboo here as far as questioning something is concerned, and so that you can find a solution for that problem.
Yes.
So that's the second part.
Yes.
And the third part which you referred is so very important. In fact, this is something which India has lagged behind. I have been a student, but I never knew about intellectual property. I went to college, nobody talked about it. I went to started working, and somewhere, only in the last several years, I would say 8 to 10 years, people have realized that there is so much of innovation happening, but they have not been either patenting it or they are not copyrighting it. And like you said, creative writing, writing can be copyrighted.
Yes.
And that is something that everybody should be aware of.
Correct.
And it is wonderful now that students between grade 6 to grade 12 are getting an opportunity to learn about what is intellectual property. Because as you go further down the road and you become an innovator or you become a job creator, if you don't patent your work, then somebody else will copy it, and then there will be an issue.
Right.
Wonderful. Now, as a mentor of change, what has been your experience in the practical aspects of it? Children come, some of the children are talented, some of the children are shy. How do you deal with all of this? When you walk into an Atal Tinkering Lab, tell me something about your experience and what has struck you about what goes towards successful mentoring.
Yeah. So let children explore and innovate. I believe that every child has his or her own innate potential. As a mentor, try to help children to discover their innate potential, and try that children can work towards their potential. Initially, we were calling our ATL as the STEM zone: science, technology, engineering and maths. Slowly, I realized that it should be the STEAM zone, where A stand for arts. And I saw how my commerce students and humanities students also started coming to the lab, and that truly led to collaboration, sharing, And when I'm in the lab, I'm not as a principal. That is, I think, the key idea behind the success of my lab. I work there as a learner.
Yeah.
I'm a learner first because it has been so many years since I've been out of college, and all technology is new for me also. But then learning with children is fun, it's great, and we learn together, we fail together, we again learn, and slowly we tinker and bring our ideas into practice. So that is what I sit with children, and I am there in the lab and I learn myself. I think that is what motivates my school to be in the ATL.
Wow. So, this is a very important thing. Learning to learn is what you are talking about, because the Atal Tinkering Labs enables you to learn, and a mentor has to be able to teach the children or induct them into the learning to learn concept, and that's what, because and in that process you also learn a lot.
Yes.
And the second point that you mentioned was to explore new ideas and new possibilities, and in that exploration you are able to find something new that was not existing. And innovation is always building up sometimes on something that is already existing, but saying why not add this particular feature or improve upon it, or there is a limitation here, so why not remove that limitation. So that's wonderful. What are some of the challenges in whatever she is mentioned, Ms. Kakkar? What are the challenges that you have seen that need to be overcome, and what is the process that you have employed?
I think I was one of the first. We were from the first batch of mentors who got selected in last year, and initially always there are some challenges, and we need to take them positively, because everybody is learning, and it's a new kind of program which is coming to the schools, and it is having such a big impact. So initially there were challenges. The challenges were there was little lack of clarity about how to go about the different processes and guidelines, and we were the Atal in charge. She was not very clear about how to conduct the sessions, and but slowly we built up the communication, and the schools were having lots of activities, so it was difficult to schedule the session, but slowly we overcame all those challenges. Now the communication is very smooth. We are getting a lot of cooperation from the principal and the Atal in charge, and everybody is very happy with the way the things are flowing now. The main challenge which I found was just to find the space within the whole lot of activities which are taking place in the school. So that is one thing, because there were two other mentors which were there along with me, and but slowly now we have come to a very good space where we are cooperating with each other, and everybody is using their own skills. For example, one of the mentor is from electronics background, so he's looking after the sessions focused upon 3D printing and other thing. I'm looking after the intellectual property, soft skills, design thinking, and there is another mentor who is looking after the humanities and arts part. So everything is working very smoothly.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So I think 2 or 3 things came out from what you said. Number one, many schools, and most of the schools, are going to have more than one mentor associated with them. So how do you collaborate and work together most effectively as a team? So mentors themselves also should make sure that you are an expert on intellectual property, so direct all questions related to that towards you. Somebody who's good in electronics, then you would ask that person to help. And this is what goes into making an innovation. And innovation is not just it's electronics, it's mechanical stuff, it is soft skills which are required in order to present it very effectively, and so on. So all of these are important. The second thing that actually you said it in the earlier conversation and we had, and I particularly noted that you said the mentor should be a friend. And the mentor is not a teacher, is not he or she should not be saying, don't do this like this and do that like that. In fact, you should be a friend who is guiding and who is helping the student, and who is encouraging the student all along the way. And as you rightly said, the mentor also learns along with that, right? So can you give me, Ms. Pratibha, some impact stories? I mean, some stories of impact that your mentoring has led to and which has given you great joy.
Yeah. So in my school, we have students who have collaborated together, and we participated in ATL Tinkering Marathon 2017, and we came out with a project Smart Tap, and I must tell you the team was unique because One of the students, he was from the science background, the other student was from the humanities background. But how well they collated and collaborated is important. And it's not only that it's about robotics or it's about science, because when we talk of entrepreneurship, it's also about business, it is also about presenting your product. So in my school, when we came up with the smart tap, which is now among the top 6 prototypes which has been developed with the help of Niti Aayog, we were elated about it, and we were very happy that our school has got the right support from AIM to continue with our project further. So I think my students who have worked on the smart tap, it was really a dream come true for us.
Excellent. And what a concept which is relevant. I mean, with the Jal Shakti movement and all of that which is happening, a smart tap and an innovation like that.
Yes.
And I think you also referred to it when you talked previously. It is not necessary that you should just be a technologist or technology oriented to become an innovator. In fact, even if you're from the commerce background, if you're in the arts background, we need all multidisciplinary approach towards innovation. And innovation is as much a work of art as it is of science and design.
Yes.
And therefore, and it's as much a commercial, at the end of the day, in order to have commercial impact, commerce students should get involved, because otherwise the commercial impact is not there. And so many things come to making an innovation, and a mentor is able to see the benefit of having an art student, a humanities student, a technology or a science student all coming together, and it's such a fascinating experience for all of us. On the same line, do you have any impact story to share? And also, is there a particular thing that you learned in the process?
So I learned that it was in the school system, in the classrooms, there are 3 different categories of the students. One who are topping in everything. They are participating in each and every activity, and then there is a middle layer, the layer of the dreamers, the free thinkers, the students who are called impulsive students, hyperactive students. These are the students actually who are having some disruptive thinking, and that is the thinking which is actually
the misfits.
Works. The misfits. The misfits.
Yes.
Yes. And they are the students who actually thrive in such kind of environment, the unstructured environment where there are no expectations from them. Most of the time we think of these students as they are not getting good grades, so it impacts their confidence, it impacts their self-esteem, because they are getting compared with their peers also. So so ATL is a very good space for them, and I learned that actually these were the students who were coming to me asking a lot of questions. They were actually getting connected to all those facilities. Maybe the toppers were still thinking that they need to finish their syllabus and they get good grades, but these are the students who are actually coming forward and taking very active interest in all those facilities and activities which were getting conducted in the labs. And impact stories, I remember one of the girls, she came to me and she told me that because she had discussed the intellectual property sessions with her parents, so on her birthday she got a certificate from her parents gifted her a certificate, a copyright certificate. She had written one story, and the parents took that story to the copyright office, got it copyrighted, and she got a gift from. So it was a very good surprise for her. And she showed it to me, and I was really happy that now students are actually understanding the practical usage of the knowledge they are getting from through their mentors. So.
This is wonderful. I mean, I like the story because the parent has also got involved. And I'm sure, as mentors, you have to see how do you also communicate to the parents. So have you had to come and call a parent and say, hey, your son, who seems to be a misfit otherwise in school, is really a great innovator, and have you had a chance to talk to some parent on that?
Not till now, but yes, I'm looking forward, because I'm thinking of creating some lesson plans which are focused on such kind of students, and maybe I'll try to get in touch with the parents also. That should be next school. That should be next school.
So that brings me to the next question, Ms. Pratibha. You see, we are talking of mentoring, but mentoring is not limited only to the students. You sometimes need to mentor the ATL in charge. You need to mentor even maybe the principal of that organization, because sometimes they may think, oh, this is not something that I should go and visit. But if a principal, like you have seen, if you go to the Atal Tinkering Lab and you are there, then the whole management and the school structure and the ATL in charge also get excited and they start participating. So the other thing is, in any ATL, there are many things that we have provided tools, like an ATL dashboard, which people should fill up. We have ATL tinkering challenges, which we launch. And to encourage participation and to do all of that, a mentor has to sometimes step in. So what is your observation on all of this?
See, it is very important to loop in all the stakeholders. So the management of my school is equally participative in all this, and whenever we have Tinkerfest, on the ultimate day of the Tinkerfest, for the last 1 hour we make it an open session for parents, and parents come and see whatever innovation their child has done. And I think when parents, management, teachers, students all are involved, it is a big family, and that really gives boost to the potential of the students. So children really like that their work is not only within the school. When the parents come and see, when the management comes and see, children really feel more involved, and I think when they get a pat on the back for all this, they are really very happy about it. So it's a great thing, I mean, we are doing in schools. And as I said earlier, it is for, like she said, those children who are not only into academics, who want to explore, who want to just solve any question, ATL is for them.
Yeah. So I think it was Steve Jobs who said, "Here's to the crazy, to the misfits, the square peg in a round hole." And these are the thinkers, and these are the disruptive innovators of the future. And so everybody has a place in Atal Tinkering Lab. It is not that you have to be academically superior and highly performing. Of course, they can do well because they can relate their studies and theory to what they are actually tinkering with. But on the other hand, all the others who are not necessarily so academically inclined will suddenly find their ground in the Atal Tinkering Lab, and then they start performing well academically. I have a question for you. I mean, we have 2 women mentors here, and I wish I had a man and a woman here both. But maybe there are more women mentors or not. But I would like you to give a very special message about 2 women on how how you love this activity of yours, and whether it can inspire other women to join.
So I would come from my own personal experience why I was motivated to join this movement. Before that, I remember whenever I was sitting with my kids, I have 2 small kids, and they were always telling me, "Mama, why don't you become a teacher?" So I feel that somehow mothers, teachers, we are natural nurturers. We connect with the students somehow they feel at ease with us.
Right.
And students, they have the tendency to get intimidated by the surroundings if they are sharing the space with people from different backgrounds. Sometimes they don't want to share
my
their
daughter
ideas.
always says, "I get scared, Daddy, when you start speaking to me."
Yes. So I, although it's a problem that women, there is a very less proportion of women who are actually doing who are actually active participant in science, but I expect more women to join this movement because from my own experience I can say that the students, they are very comfortable with having a women mentor, and we have a special connection with them. We understand their problem not only from the perspective of academics, we also understand their emotional problems very well. So it's a message for all the women mentors out there who are trying to get into this program. Please do that. Please apply it to them.
This is something which is very important, because as you rightly said, children feel comfortable, and a mentor characteristic should be that the children should be able to approach you very easily, be able to be very open with you and ask any questions that they want and not feel intimidated. And women have a natural inclination to listen and to care and not to be intimidating, and I think that's wonderful. And I do hope more and more women mentors register onto the Atal Tinkering Labs and become mentors of change. Ms. Pratibha, we have just launched the 2nd edition of the Mentors of Change application, and we really want a number of mentors to get associated, because we are planning to have about 10,000 tinkering labs operational over the next year or 2, and we would need several mentors. So what message would you have to all the potential people who are sort of oscillating? Should I become a mentor of change? Is it too much of my time? It is all, after all, voluntary activity. Is it worth it? Can I deliver on what the expectations are? So many thoughts come to somebody's mind, and they don't register. I would like you to share your views on how important this is, and is it really rewarding to you or is it taxing to you?
Okay. First thing, always give back to your country. We have got so much from our country, from our society, and once you are into your profession, you are well settled, it is important that you give back to the society whatever you have learned. And I think being in education is most gratifying. Be a part of New India. India is evolving, India is changing. Children want to tinker, children want to ideate, create, innovate, and one needs to be a part of this revolution. So I would really expect people who can help children, who can devote their time, please do it. And sir, as far as your question, whether it is taxing or not, I feel where there is a will, there is a way. As a principal, my job is 24 hours, yet I am very passionate about tinkering labs, for the only reason that this is the only place where my students can move beyond curriculum. They can think what they want, they can do what they want, and I tell them, yes, whatever ideas you have, just put them into practice. So be a part of the New India. Ladies, I think we are more caring, we nurture more, we are more empathetic. So we will be able to get the ideas out of the children, and we will be able to implement those ideas more. We must contribute to our country. I feel very strongly about it.
Excellent, excellent. What would you say, Ms. Kakkar? I mean, I'm just still recovering from whatever she has said, because it is not only powerful, it is emotionally very. It comes from her heart, and I think that is what a mentor, a good mentor, is all about. It should be acts of the heart, and like you said, we want to give back to society because all of us have gained. From society in many ways. Sometimes we think we are deserving of something, but actually many people have played a role into becoming what we are, and therefore there is an opportunity to give back to society through the Mentors of Change movement. Also, you mentioned another thing, and that is the joy of giving and the joy of giving back is a lot more rewarding than you feeling taxed about it, or you feeling that there is a lot of effort for you. So I think these are two very important points. What would you add to that, Ms. Kakkar?
I think that mentors have big impact on these young, fresh minds. I wish I had a mentor when I was young, So they can shape up your perspectives. They can help you understand what careers you want to choose later on. And sometimes these relationships, they last for a very, very long time. So mentors have a huge impact. It's a big responsibility. The students have the ability. We have to respond to that. It's a kind of responsibility, and we need to do it with passion, for the love of it, for the joy of it. So this is what I want to say. And the students, they come to us with a lot of dreams in their eyes. So I think it's our responsibility to give back to our nation in some way. It's not difficult to find time. It's not difficult because it's something which is a tool for mutual growth. When we go to the school, we also grow in some way. Not only helping the students, we are helping ourselves also. So I think it's a very good program, and as we have to share the experiences with the other people also, and students learn from them. And I think people who think that it's a voluntary program, they might not be having time for that. It's not that kind of. If you have the passion, you can do it. So go for it.
So have the passion and help the children realize their dreams. That's what I heard from you. And mentoring provides you that platform, that ability to help young children realize their dreams. And what can be better than that? What can be more rewarding than that? I want to thank both of you, Ms. Pratibha and Ms. Kakkar, for not only sharing your views, but your views are born out of experience, the experience of mentoring and the joy of mentoring. And I think all the viewers would have learned a lot. I have learned a lot, and indeed I feel very privileged to have had this session with both of you. And I do hope that your schools and the mentors and the schools that you're mentoring continue to benefit through your very, very active mentorship. Thank you, everybody. And are there a few questions from the audience that you would like us to take? Okay, I think I've asked most of the questions that may be in your minds, but if there are any, please write to us, and I will pass it on to Ms. Pratibha and to Ms. Kakkar, and they will be more than happy to respond. Thank you once again. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.